Today's top stories. Malacanang weighs in on Miss Universe Catriona Gray's stand on the use of medical marijuana. Oil firms implement a modest price decrease after weeks of big-time rollbacks. Authorities arrest a couple suspected of supplying firearms to local terrorists. And environmental officials call for more action to protect the Coral Triangle from climate change.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Among the highlights of the Miss Universe 2018 pageant was the question and answer portions, and Malacanang has taken interest in one statement Miss Universe Catriona Gray's stand on medical marijuana. Lawmakers and police have also taken sides on whether legalizing marijuana for medical use is appropriate. More on this from Rom Dulfo.
Malacanang said it was best to ask Miss Universe 2018 Catriona Gray herself how she came up with her choice to support the legalization of marijuana for medicinal purposes. Presidential spokesman Salvador Panelo made this remark after Gray said in the question and answer portion that she was for marijuana's medical use. Panelo, however, said although Gray could have made up her own decision on the matter, there was also a chance it was influenced by the stand of President Duterte. Earlier, Malacanang reiterated that the president is in favor of legalizing medical marijuana, which is used in parts of the U.S. Kabayan Representative Ron Salo says Gray's stance could help push for the approval of House Bill 6517, which seeks to legalize marijuana use in the country. Salo said the bill would help patients suffering from debilitating medical conditions such as cachexia, seizures associated with epilepsy, and muscle spasms related to multiple sclerosis. But PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde said further studies and consultation with experts are needed on the legalization of marijuana. He said the government has to consider serious implications of this measure, including abuse or oversupply. At present, marijuana is classified as a dangerous and illegal drug under the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Department of Tourism has praised Miss Universe Catriona Gray for promoting the country and its people before the world. The DOT says Gray, who has been a tourism advocate, has raised the Philippine flag through her words and actions and shown it to the world that it is more fun in the Philippines. Tourism Chief Bernadette Romulo Puyat also said Gray evoked the Filipino people's essential attributes of friendliness, cheerfulness, hospitality, and kindness through the Miss Universe pageant. Gray personally sought the DOT's assistance in making her introduction clip for the International Beauty Pageant. She also visited various places in the country to showcase more of the Philippines' heritage as well as its people's rich culture. The Department of Justice is confident in proving the legality of the extension of martial law in Mindanao. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says any fresh petition against the extension of martial law will fail as long as the government shows factual basis for its further effectivity. The DOJ chief noted that the government has explained all necessary facts justifying the measure. Guevara says the Supreme Court will have to bank on the same set of facts already laid before the Congress before they overwhelmingly voted to extend the martial law for another year. Meantime, Congress has the power to cut short its effectivity if the basis to extend martial law has ceased to exist by next year. Opposition Solons earlier said they will question the validity of the third martial law extension before the Supreme Court. The Department of Foreign Affairs says no Filipino was among those injured in the explosion in Sapporo, Japan on Sunday. Japanese police have reported that no Filipinos were among the 42 individuals injured in a blast which took place at a restaurant in Toyohara District. Ambassador to Japan Jose Laurel V reported that authorities are still investigating the cause of the blast, which media reports say may have been caused by a gas leak. Laurel also sent a letter to Hokkaido Governor Harumi Takahashi expressing the embassy's sympathies to those affected by the explosion. Meanwhile, police arrest a couple selling arms to local terrorists in Valenzuela City. More on these and other news around the metro from Maricor Zapata.
In Valenzuela City, police arrested a couple said to be selling firearms and ammunition to terrorist groups. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde identified the suspects as Edgardo and Rosemary Bedel, residents of Gapan, Nueva Ecija. The couple was said to sell arms to local terrorists in Mindanao, such as the Maute and Abu Sayyaf, as well as to rogue politicians for use in the coming elections. The PNP will also investigate reports that a retired soldier is supplying the contraband to the suspects. Meanwhile, Malacanang has suspended government work on January 2, 2019 to give public servants the full opportunity to enjoy New Year's Day. This was contained in Memorandum Circular Number 54 signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medjaldea. All government employees, except those involved in the delivery of basic health services, disaster preparedness, and other vital services, shall continue with their operations. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Still to come, oil firms implement a modest price decrease after weeks of big-time rollbacks. Maranaws seek President Duterte's help in the murder of a Muslim preacher in Baguio City. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
I am here to donate a few goods, not as a secretary of the PCOO, but as a member of the Cagayan
This is Secretary Martin Andanar, and you're watching.
It's my honor, it's a privilege for me to be a member of this organization because I am from Cagayan de Oro. So I come here to bring 2 sets of television. Thank you so much for the time because I know that it was a little bit short notice, but you still came here to see me, to meet and to talk, and to have this Christmas breakfast, simple Christmas breakfast with the entire organization. As I said earlier, I reiterate now that I'm here primarily as a member.
Local oil firms rolled back pump prices this morning. This week's rollback is a modest amount from the usual price decreases for the past 10 weeks. Meanwhile, gasoline prices went up slightly last week after oil-producing countries announced their plans to reduce output to arrest the slump in oil prices. Global benchmark Brent crude previously settled at $60.32 per barrel. The Department of Energy said as of December 12, common price of gasoline is at 47 pesos and 55 centavos per liter, 38 pesos and 15 centavos per liter for diesel, and 47 pesos and 82 centavos per liter for kerosene. Overseas Filipino workers have sent more remittances to the country this year. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas says that personal remittances for the first 10 months of the year reached $26.5 billion or higher by 2.9% from last year. For October alone, personal remittances totaled $2.8 billion, higher by 8% from $2.6 billion a year ago. The top countries that contribute to the increase were the United States, Canada, and Taiwan. Likewise, cash remittances reached $23.8 billion or 3.1% higher compared to the USD $23.1 billion registered in the same period in 2017. 79% of the total cash remittances for the first 10 months of 2018 came from the US, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Singapore, Japan, United Kingdom, Qatar, Canada, Germany, and Hong Kong. Baguio City has officially started preparations for the Panagbenga Flower Festival. The city government launched the February festival by earmarking 20 million pesos for the grand event. Panagbenga Executive Committee Co-Chairman Councilor Elmer Datuin says traditional activities will remain to be the highlight of the Flower Festival, such as the Grand Float Parade, street dance competition, Session Road Bloom, and fireworks display. Meanwhile, universities in the city will present cultural shows to present the culture of the Cordillera region. Mayor Mauricio Domogan says the street dancing and float parades will be moved to March 2nd and 3rd, while the weekend after will be the closing program. The Flower Festival formally opens on February 1st of each year. In Marawi City, some 5,000 Maranaw protesters are calling on President Rodrigo Duterte to help bring justice for the murder of a Muslim preacher in Baguio City. The protesters urge the president to help solve the murder of Imam Sheikh Bedejim Abdullah, the Muslim preacher designated at the Philippine Military Academy, or PNA. Moro leader Agkan Sharif said the Muslim community has not heard of any concrete updates on whoever killed Abdullah. He notes that the motive of the killing is not yet clear, and while the face of the suspect is clearly shown in CCTV footage, investigators have not identified the criminal, who is possibly not from Baguio. The Muslim community already has raised 1 million pesos for the capture of Abdullah's assailant. Abdullah was gunned down at the Baguio City Public Market on Thursday, December 6. Meanwhile, the BIR shuts down 3 establishments in Iloilo City. More on these stories from the provinces from Maricor Zapata.
In Iloilo City, the Bureau of Internal Revenue shut down 3 branches of the DLS grocery store for tax violations since 2016. This following the closure here of 3 branches of a merchandising establishment, also for tax violations through Oplan Candado. Alberto Olasiman, Regional Director of BIR 11, appeals to all establishments in Panay Island to state their correct sales and pay the right taxes. Meanwhile, authorities arrested suspected big-time drug dealer Marisa Wee, alias Inda, in a bypass operation on Sunday in Barangay Upper Calarian, Zamboanga City. About 6 million pesos worth of suspected shabu were recovered from the suspect. Wee's cohort, identified as Mayong Ilangkamlon, however, escaped. The bypass operation was jointly conducted by policemen, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency operatives, and Air Force personnel. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Up next, environment officials call for more action to protect the Coral Triangle from climate change. The Department of Tourism looks into tourism opportunities brought by the return of the Balangiga bells. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
This is actually great because especially for us, we're just individuals, but we actually really need and want to tap into informations like this, where we can collaborate with government organizations, what they are doing already, and what we can do as part of the citizen of the Philippines, right?
Pretty much taken aback actually, because for the first time, it's governments reaching out. It's not common for government to reach out. Especially here in the regions, even in Visayas and Mindanao.
Kasi marami akong natutunan, marami akong nalalaman regarding sa mga programa ng ating gobyerno, particularly sa Duterte administration. So, ang laking tulong niya, lalong-lalo na sa mga MSME katulad ko.
And in other news, the Philippines sees the need for more international climate action that will better protect the 6 million square kilometer Coral Triangle. Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu raised the need to protect the Coral Triangle before the international community. He said climate change hampered lives of people in the Coral Triangle, particularly those living in coastal communities. Cimatu said the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and Convention on Biological Diversity are possible platforms for airing concerns on the Coral Triangle. He also called to lessen the emission of greenhouse gases and reduce environmental footprint of fishing and other high-impact activities. The Coral Triangle is known as the center of marine biodiversity on Earth, located in the waters of the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, and Timor-Leste. In our foreign news, about 13 people were reported injured at an explosion at a nightclub in the Colombian department of Cordoba. Radio station Blue Radio says attackers threw an explosive device into the El Rancho de John club in the city of Montelibano. Cordoba police said that the 13 people injured, 3 had to undergo surgery. The victims were among those celebrating a victory of the Junior de Barranquilla football club in the Colombia Championship. Police are investigating the incident. PBA franchises have started trading players following the recent PBA rookie draft. The San Miguel Beermen have taken in Terrence Romeo from Talk and Text, Paul Zamar from Blackwater, and Ronald Tubid from Colombian Jeep. Tubid is returning to San Miguel in exchange for Keith Agovida, while Brian Heruela and David Semerad are set to be traded along with first-round picks for Romeo. Paul Desiderio and Abu Tratter are expected for Blackwater as the NLEX Road Warriors trades them for Poy Eram. The teams are now awaiting approval from the PBA. All eyes are on Balangiga, Eastern Samar in the tourism as the return of its church bells fuels interest in the province as a potential tourist destination. More on this from Rom Dulfo.
The Balangiga Bells have just added Eastern Samar to the list of the country's rising tourist destinations. The tourism department said the return of the Balangiga Bells 117 years after it was taken to the U.S. will fuel curiosity among tourists in the history of the Eastern Visayas. Tourism Chief Bernadette Romulo Puyat expects an influx of tourists desiring to see the 3 Balangiga Bells along with its old church. DOT Eastern Visayas Regional Director Karina Rosa Tiope said the agency had been assisting the Balangiga LGU in its tourism projects. Foremost of these is the improvement of the Balangiga Incident Marker funded under DOT Yolanda Comprehensive Rehabilitation and Recovery Project and beautification of the park and small museum. The Balangiga Incident Marker is the work of national artist Napoleon Abueva. Meanwhile, preparations set by the DOT include trainings for mangrove paddling guides, waiter servicing and food handling, community tour guides, mountain guides, effective customer service, and entrepreneurial development. DOT has provided for the procurement of livelihood gears for Bayakhap Falls, Ladder Bangon Falls, and Sitio Marag Mangroves. Tiope said enhancing other tourist destinations in Balangiga will make visitors stay longer, giving them the opportunity to get to know more about the region. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take a look at today's top stories.
Malacanang weighs in on Miss Universe Catriona Gray's stand on the use of medical marijuana. Oil firms implement a modest price decrease after weeks of big-time rollbacks. Authorities arrest a couple suspected of supplying firearms to local terrorists. And environmental officials call for more action to protect the Coral Triangle from climate change.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And only 1 week or 7 days more to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.